America's heart was ripped open at Utah Valley University, where Charlie Kirk, the 31-year-old firebrand of Turning Point, USA, was gunned down in a cold-blooded sniper attack at 12:20 p.m. Mountain Time. A single high-powered rifle shot tore through Kirk's neck from roughly 150 yards, from what appears to be a shooter on the Lossy Center building.
So there's somebody on the roof right there? Just saying? He just ran from, where's my finger? Whoa. From over there, ran in. And now he's right there.
A husband and father of two, a man who deeply loved a country that had rewarded him the providence his work deserved, was pronounced dead. There are reports that he died almost immediately after being shot. As the nation grieved, the Democrats feasted on the tragedy like a pack of hyenas.
Political violence, unfortunately, has been ratcheting up in this country, and I think there are people who are fomenting it in this country. I think the president's rhetoric often foments it.
The chair would ask that all members present in the chamber and those in the gallery please rise for a moment of prayer for Charlie Kirk and his family. Let's, wait a minute. The House will be in order. The House will be in order. Shh.
While many Americans immediately confronted the elephant in the room and pointed a finger at cowardly color revolution, radicalization, mind control operations like MSNBC, who before we even knew if Charlie had survived, painted Charlie as an existential threat, gaslighting the country into believing Kirk's rhetoric was responsible for his own death, when in fact it was their own rhetoric that got us here. A clear display of broadcasted domestic terrorism, which is defined as violent criminal acts committed by individuals and/or groups to further ideological goals stemming from domestic influences, such as those of a political, religious, social, racial, or environmental nature.
He's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions.
And I know it's hard to predict the future, Mark, but you can imagine the administration using this as a justification for something.
Obviously, there's a lot of rhetoric that is problematic. A lot of it is coming from one particular side and from one particular building. But what can be done? I fear when this is an escalation already in less than 24 hours of this shooting.
Speaking of this tragedy, is this a moment for your party to reflect on political violence? Is it a moment for us to think about the responsibility of our political leaders and their voices and what it does to the masses as they get lost in misinformation or disinformation that turns in and spills into political violence?
I say both parties.
Only Republicans, only people inclined to consume conservative media are now, I think, upward of 50% say that if necessary, violence is okay. You've only got the conduct on one of the two sides.
The solution, Mr. President? Reinstate the Smith-Munn Act and enforce it. Obama's army of propagandists will fall. The shooter still remains at large after the initial suspect, who bizarrely declared "shoot me," was released, although authorities claim to have held another suspect. Were they just decoys to allow the real shooter to flee? And who is this person being arrested wearing black pants while a rifle is clearly confiscated? Stephen Crowder received an email from an ATF officer detailing a recovered older imported Mauser 30-06 bolt-action rifle wrapped in a towel in a nearby wooded area along the suspect's escape route, containing a spent cartridge and 3 unspent rounds engraved with transgender and anti-fascist messages. Kirk had reportedly been talking about transgender issues right before he was shot.
This morning I can tell you that we have recovered what we believe is the weapon that was used in yesterday's shooting. It is a high-powered bolt-action rifle. That rifle was recovered in a wooded area where the shooter had fled.
Was this a solo fanatic, radicalized by years of media-fueled hatred? Or did Kirk's words rattle the agents of foreign and/or domestic terror?
Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to say
to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand-down order?
The stench of evil is thick. Kirk's death isn't just a tragedy. It's a warning shot to a nation fighting to reclaim its soul. Know this, liberty will never die, and the spirit of Charlie Kirk will now rise within millions of young Americans who will never forget the example he left to us all. John Bound reporting for InfoWars.